Hey guys, I am here to get into Mysterious Skin, which just lands on a uniquely uncomfortable, disgusting, and horrifying note from start to finish. It kind of just hones in on a lot of just guilt of overwhelming forces in life that people just can't really control. But sometimes, you just start to feel like disgusted and things around you. And this is just a real film about brutality and truth, about things that people don't want to really admit, but deep down it's like, okay, some things just can't be resolved, and it's not well. And this is kind of a perfect kind of depiction of that kind of world building. I think this is just perfectly executed from start to finish. I love this film growing up, and even now it just holds up better. Of just you could like let yourself love moments for a while, but there's always this sense of looming dread that like something could go wrong. And there's just some people who just organically have that outlook on life, and this is just one that really resonates with a lot of that. It's very devastating ultimately, and the entire atmosphere is just very overwhelming. You feel uncomfortable about the entire way through. I was very disturbed and haunted by this often growing up, and it still remains that way in a lot of ways. So this just kind of feels like the equivalent of maybe just finding some calm in a lot of these haunted emotions, you could say, in a lot of ways. And it lands a very original note. It honestly does resonate with a lot of like shoegaze and post-rock kind of perspective, even musically. It's like a film equivalent. Because a lot of the things, early mid-2000s was influenced by a lot of that. And like the 90s, early 90s music scene of like, particularly like kind of creating a film version of a lot of like the shoegaze sort of atmosphere. And it's a very heartbreaking film, very soul-crushing ultimately. Kind of characters who are suffering in a lot of ways, and it kind of shows like strange and out of place sort of like depictions in every sense of the word. Very haunting ultimately. You kind of just feel like the message is just delivered in such a beautiful way that there's ultimate hope in life, even whenever things just seem ultimately very traumatic, and like events like just feel like they're just always about to go wrong in a certain kind of way. And I just think it's a very tactful kind of depiction. It's like horrifying. That explores like some of the darkest themes in film in a lot of ways, but ultimately it kind of looks at it from just a realistic kind of perspective. It's not really like it's not sad or upsetting. It's just a very realistic depiction, you say, ultimately. Very grounded at doing so as well. Like it just, again, like characters just suffering from like kind of, you sometimes just kind of can't escape things, and just characters are just living in this sort of dark edge. And the soundtrack is wonderful too. Very like calm and very heartfelt. Again, the sound. I think maybe the soundtrack's also a lot of evokes that shoegaze atmosphere. And I rewatched this kind of recently. And it's like, wow, I was surprised how well this holds up better than ever. It's just this. I realize how beautiful this film is. It's like it's very haunting, but there's certainly a beautiful core about all of this. How maybe like characters really believe that everything will be. Like, there's like I don't know. It's like funny. It's realistic. There's just like and you're always haunted, but you can find like hope in moments and like little moments in between. It's really life-changing kind of depiction of like sort of like getting maybe like how to kind of coping with a depressive perspective on life, maybe feeling like trauma, like kind of trauma is dominated by trauma, but you just live on. It's really a place that speaks to unspeakable beauty, and I just really love this film from start to finish, honestly. Often disturbing, very disgusting even, you could say, but it takes full advantage of just this really insane atmosphere. Strongly recommended I don't know about strong. It's very disturbing. Like if you're very, very disturbing. It's on an NC-17 level of disturbing. But if you're interested in like insane, it's a matter of just seeing like characters haunted by it, it's worth recommending strongly. And it honestly remains perhaps my favorite Joseph Gordon-Levitt performance. He's really particularly masterful in this performance. Like it reminds me a lot of like River Phoenix in My Own Private Idaho, and it's very like beautiful and disturbing simultaneously. So this is strongly recommended.